Hi everyone, Paul at ISM. Welcome to part 4 of our car modelling techniques guide. In the last part 3, we covered decals, so hopefully I covered everything we can talk about there. Like I say, if you've got any questions, just pop them in the comments down below and I'll answer them as I go. We covered that from start to finish. Hopefully all that was pretty clear. And if you are working to these videos, I hope your decaling went okay. So today we're going to cover clear coats. So for myself, I've tried most of the clear coats out there. Aquagloss, X22 Tamiya, Guns GX100, 1K, which is a lacquer clear, different kind of 2Ks, and Aquagloss. I think I already said Aquagloss, but anyway. So I've covered all those over the years, found out what works, what doesn't work, different applications. So for like aircraft, I like X22 thin with leveling thinner, works brilliant. Aquagloss works well as well. For cars, I've tried them all. The likes of X22 Tamiya, Guns GX100, Tamiya TS13 in the rattle can, the Hero Boy 1K clear. They're all single applications, so the X22, the Guns mixed with leveling thinner, and that turns into quite a hot clear coat. 50% thinner, so you do stand a good chance of melting decals. It has happened to me, and it is absolutely soul destroying to have it happen. In fact, I recently did a car that 1K clear ate the decals on. The 1K is very hot, TS13 from Tamiya is very hot as well. And the thing with a clear coat is you ideally need to get a wet coat down to make it glossy. And getting a wet coat down with those clears can be difficult, laborious, needs a lot of polishing. I've not got time for that. I jumped on the 2K bandwagon last year, doing my Africa Twin bike, and wow, I was blown away. I've tried the Hero Boy stuff, which it works, it does work. I find it a little bit too thick and a little bit too unpredictable for me. I'm talking from my experience. So that works out, I think it's about £18 for 100, is it 120 mil, 100 mil? 100 mil of it. I then moved on to MIPA on a recommendation of a friend, and that is very good. The problem is the MIPA's expensive. In the long term it's not, but as a initial investment it is. The MIPA cost me around the £60 mark for a litre of thinner, a litre of the clear and half a litre of the hardener. You can't get all the components in the UK from one place, so I had to get them from all over the shop. From Germany for the hardener, UK for the clear, and UK on eBay for the thinner. So yeah, I found the finish can be a bit intermittent with the MIPA. 1 minute it's okay, the next minute it's not. So I think that's quite dependent on you on that one. Just out of sheer interest, I was cruising eBay and I found some Pro Range 2K. For £20 delivered, and that is delivered as well. You get a litre of clear, half a litre of hardener, 250 ml of the thinner. And wow, I love this stuff. It is fantastic. I've been using it for the past couple of months now. The last 6-8 cars, love it. Absolutely love it. It's cheap as chips, really good, and I can't fault it at all. I'll put a link in the description for the eBay link where it's from. It's manufactured in Manchester, not far from me. Sold in Chester, not far from me, so I can go and pick it up should I need to. But 20 quid delivered, brilliant. I went halves with Sam, so it cost me £10, and there's enough in there to do a lot of cars. So 20 quid for 10 times the amount of another one. Yeah, well the maths do the talking there, and it works fantastic. So that's the one I'm going to use. So I'll put the link in the description down below. This is the stuff here. That's it right there. The cans will vary, but I'm told it's the same stuff in there. Any problems, contact the eBay seller and they will sort you out. So that's it. That's what I've been using for quite some time, and it's proving very, very reliable. It sprays easy, cleans up easy, it's not too thick, self-levels fantastically, very, very forgiving to use, dries rock hard, polishes fantastic, and I think it just looks great. So that's what we're going to use. Like I say, you can use the TS sprays, the lacquers and all them, but you just need a wet coat, and you really do run the risk of it eating your decals. I know it's happened to me. I'm not saying it can't be done, but it needs a lot of work. It's very laborious to do, and you will not get the shine you get with 2K. No chance. Not without a hell of a lot of work. But that's the way you want to go. If you're not confident using the 2K, thanks to TS13, you can spray it out of the rattle can, you decant it and spray it. Build up the coats very slowly. If I had a spare body shell, I would show it in use, but I don't, so I'm not prepared to waste one, unfortunately. I am sorry about that. Build the coats up slowly, couple of dry coats, tack coats, build it up, but you do need a final wet coat to get it to work properly. And then you have to get your compounds out and polish the living bejesus out of it. Aquagloss is good, but that needs a lot of coats to do. It's very forgiving, that's not going to be your decals, but it pools very easily, and it does require quite a bit of work. But I've seen some fantastic paint finishes with Aquagloss, so it's well worth doing if you've got the time to do. X22 and guns, they get anything in 50/50. Again, they need a lot of work to get that high shine, and it will eat your decals. It's happened to me on an Escort with a GX100, RS500, the Texaco one I did. I did that in Hero Boy 1K, ate the decals alive because the wet coat just destroyed them, and it's unbelievably disheartening. So yeah, 2K is the way for me, and I will show you why in a minute. I do have another video up, it shows the Zero Paints 2K, that'll stay up. It's further down the channel, but this is the stuff I'm using at the minute, and I'll show you how I'm spraying it. Again, it might not be the right way, but it's my way, and it's how I do it, and I'm getting nice paint finishes, as you've seen if you follow my work. There we are. So let's head over to the spray booth, and let's go through everything required. Okay, so over in the spray booth, we're going to use the 2K clear I showed in the eBay link. This is the actual product I received in the post. It's different to the link shown, but I'm assured it's the same stuff, just with different labelling. I contacted them and they confirmed it. I decanted it into smaller airtight bottles, as you can see, and labelled them accordingly. This makes dispensing them and store them a little bit easier, rather than dragging out big litre cans all the time. This is easier. We're also going to use some graduated medicine cups. These are marked on the side in 5ml graduations, and some pipettes as well. This will aid in mixing the ratios required. We've got some latex gloves, very important. We've got our 3M respirator with the non-organic filters and pre-filters. And we've got our UMP Apex with lid and our water trap on the airbrush, and also one on the compressor as well. We've got a tack cloth, as in the last video. Okay, another important step I do. I have kitchen paper on my work surface, so we've got a bottle of water, and I just wet all the kitchen paper, and there we go, there's an ISM and a UMP sticker magically appear on the cutting mat underneath. Now, wetting the work surface allows any dust that's on there to stay trapped, and any airborne particles that hopefully will land there will stay there then, and that will hopefully cut down on the dust. Sadly, dust is the enemy with the 2K clear. Because it's so sticky, it will cause issues. So at the early stages you can use some clean tweezers to pick it out, but try and keep the dust down to a minimum. So in that respect, we've got the tack cloth as last time. Cut it into a smaller section, and we're detacking the car. Get ready fluff, dust, dirt, or anything that's landed on the model in the meantime. It's an important step, something that doesn't cost a lot of money at all. You get about 5 cars out of one tack cloth, and you can get 10 tack cloths for £5 delivered, so they're not expensive. The compressor is set at 25 psi. It's a Sparmax compressor, the 610. The Apex has a water filter attached to it separately as well, an inline one. And like I say, I have the separate Apex just for 2King with the 0.35 needle. That saves any contamination from colours or metallic flakes from previous paints. I just use this for the 2K. Now I did try a 0.5mm needle. It worked well, but I found it a little bit too much for these smaller cars and bikes, and I've gone back to the standard 0.35 needle we sell with the Apex. So we're just going to get some preparation here before we start mixing our clear coat. So gloves are a very important step. Don't skimp on these. Make sure you get the right size for yourself. And like I say, I wear a cut-off sleeve off a hoodie. Literally, I just have one sleeve on my left arm, because that's the arm I use to hold everything, and that saves any overspray land on my skin. As you can see, the gloves are over the top, my hand and arm are totally covered. Like I say, you don't want to get this stuff on your skin, and you certainly don't want to breathe it in either. So the respirator's already on, the spray booth is already running, it's got a fresh filter in it, and like I say, the whole time we're spraying this, the respirator doesn't come off, and we keep it on. So with this, we're going to mix about 15ml in total of clear and hardness. So there's 10ml of the clear, and we're going to mix that with 5 milliliters of the hardener. It's 2 to 1, 2 clear to 1 hardener ratio. Because this stuff's so cheap, I don't mind over mixing too much, because I'd rather have it all mixed than have to mix a fresh batch halfway through. So like I say, 10 ml of clear, 5 ml of the hardener. Now I can't find a data sheet for this clear. I'm sure if I dig deeper I will. So I contacted the company on eBay about the ratios, and I was told mix it 2 to 1 like this, add no thinner in the beginning, and spray your tack coat like this. Then 15 minutes later, after that is cooled a little bit, add 5% thinner to the mixture, give it a good stir, apply a full wet coat, and then leave another 15 minutes, apply 10% of thinner, and then give it another wet coat as your final wet coat. Now obviously the ratio of thinner you're putting into the clear depends what's left in the cup, hence why those graduations on the side are handy. Each time you add thinner, check what level's left at the 15 ml, because it's going to go down each time, and add the thinner appropriately to that. I don't leave it 15 minutes between coats, I leave it 10. I've found that works in my favour, and that's the way I do it. So just clean out the airbrush, just add some cellulose thinner through it, and then we'll put a little bit of the thinner that comes with the 2K through, just to make sure again we get no contamination from the cheaper cellulose thinner. The cheaper cellulose thinner is only meant as a gun wash really. It's not really supposed to be used for thinning paint like this. So use the manufacturer's supplied thinner for the 2K. Like I say, I always run some through after using the cellulose. So we've got another larger cup that we put over the 2K to stop anything landing in it, or any overspray going over it. And we've got a near full colour cup of 2K in the gun. So again, we're just checking no dust, give it a quick blow over, as we always do. And what we're going to do now is apply a semi-wet tack coat. Quite hard to see on this blue. It's easy to see on different colours, but it is quite difficult to see. And what this does, this is going to give us a sticky coat for the subsequent wet layers. It'll also protect the decals a little bit rather than just hosing on 2K over them. If you spot any fluff, have a pair of tweezers to hand and get it out. At this stage you can get it out, and it's worthwhile paying attention to it. Obviously if you're in a room, my room is pretty clean, but you are going to get contaminants spraying around. So if you've got clothes on, make sure they're clean, make sure you're not covered in dust, give your hair a brush, wear a hat, or whatever. Dust is the enemy with 2K, because once it gets in there you are not getting it out. So it's systematically going around the body, and we're just putting this light tack coat down. You're literally trying to put it down so you can just see it going on. Semi-wet, not a full wet coat, not really dry, but just enough so you can see a sheen on the model. You'll see at the end what I mean. And this will, after 10 minutes of drying, get unbelievably sticky, as you will know if you've used this stuff before, and it allows the subsequent coats to stick without running then. So there we go, a little bit of fluff. I just wiped off with my finger. I've not resprayed any 2K on that yet. Don't do that unless you're confident. But there's a little bit of fluff on the decal, and there we go, now I've gone over it. After this stage, really anything that's caught in that 2K, you are pretty much screwed. It is stayed in there, and you have to polish it out or sand it out. So like I say, just light coat all the way around. Make sure you get the bottom of all the sills, get all the different angles on top of the sills, over the top of the wheel arches, in all those recesses in the front grills, the headlight covers, spotlight covers, intakes. When you're doing the bonnet, make sure you get the bonnet vents on different angles, because obviously spraying straight won't get it in there, and this is quite important to ensure you get even coverage. Okay, like I say, systematically around the whole car until you're happy you've got an even tack coat all over. As you can see, we've got a light sheen to the body, but nothing too wet. Now I have a drawer specifically to my left that is for putting in bodies like this, and as soon as it gets a coat it goes in there, and out we come with the boot spoiler, the roof vent and the wheels. And again, apply the tack coat to these because they're smaller parts as before. Pay attention to what you're doing, don't flood them. It's very easy to flood small parts like this, so just please pay attention to what you're doing. and take your time. And again, before you put any coats on, especially the first time, give it a quick blow over to get any dust off there. But just be careful putting these coats on. It's so easy to flood the smaller parts, it really is. Now, once we get past this tack coat, and even now, the quicker you can get it under cover, be it a box, a clear plastic box, a cardboard box, or like I have a drawer, the quicker you get it in there, the less chance you've got of dust landing on it. If you do use a box, please make sure it A, fits properly, doesn't go anywhere near the roof, or there's no chance of any parts falling over inside. It's happened to me, and again, it's absolutely soul destroying. Now the rims, we go around each one, ensure we get all around the front of the rim and over the front of the spokes. We then angle it to the side. As you can see, I'm angling it to spray into the spokes, just like we did with the paint. This will ensure you get full coverage of the 2K clear everywhere. So we get behind, once we've done all behind the wheel, we'll then make sure we get the centres where the wheel nuts are, and then one quick go around, and there we go. And again, get them in the drawer as quick as possible. We'll cut down on the amount of fluff or dust that lands in them, and that is my goal, get sprayed and in there as fast as possible. Now we've got some 2K left in the colour cup. We're putting this back into the mix. Now obviously because it's going to be thinned, we don't want anything left in the colour cup, because the next coat will be 5% thinner. So what we do is we give the colour cup a quick rinse with some cellulose thinner, quick blow through and a wipe over, and then some of the original thinner back in, ready for our next coat. So we're back. We've got the original mix, and we're now going to add 5% of thinner. So if I look at that now, there's about 12 millilitres of thinner in there, mix in there. So we're going to add 0.6 mil, which is 5%. So use pipette, get an approximate amount in there. Squirt it in and give it a real nice mix around. I like to squirt a little bit up just to make sure we get it all fully down the bottom, but giving it a good mix is essential. Okay, we clear out any remnants of the thinner we put in before, ensuring there's no bits of fluff or tissue in the colour cup, and then pop in our newly 5% thinned mixture. Now obviously the entire time this mixer 2K is there, it's curing. I believe you get about 40 minutes of working time with 2K, so obviously 10 minutes between, we've got about 20 minutes, 30 minutes at the most, so no real drama. We've loaded up the airbrush again, and I'm just going to have a look at what we've got. So you can see we've got a semi sheen to the car. I'm just checking around for fluff or anything stuck in the finish. Like I say, it is our enemy. And now we're going to come back and we're going to really open the airbrush up a bit now and give it a full wet coat. Not a total full wet coat like we will the last, which you'll see, but we really have pulled back on the trigger, and as you can see the spray is a lot more. We will physically see the clear coat going down. Obviously because of the angle of the camera, what have you, you can't actually see it going down wet. You will over the hood, the bonnet, the roof and the trunk or boot. And there you go, as you see on the side we're getting nice and wet now. So again, this will provide another tack coat for the last coat in another 10 minutes. And like I say, I don't know if this is the way the manufacturers recommend, but it was what the shop told me, and it works. It seems to work very well. So there we go, getting the wet coat on the bonnet and over the roof. And again, make sure we get all those angles around the front of the windows, up the A-pillars, into all the nooks and crannies. The beauty of 2K is its self-leveling qualities. That is what gives it such a good shine. Like I say, this stuff, it's quite thin. It's a lot thinner than the zero paint stuff you use, which I find quite thick. So you can put a lot of this on, a lot more than you think you can actually put on. As you see, we've got a nice wet coat now. Got a real good sheen to it. But like I say, it is surprising just how much of the stuff you can get down. I'm just going to visually inspect everywhere. What we're looking for now on these two coats, this one and the final wet coat, is orange peel. We want to get rid of any orange peel. So if it's there, give it another go over, another coat, and just make sure it's gone. It's more important on the last coat than this one. But like I say, if you can have a visual check each time, look for any fluff or muck or what have you, because after this, that is it now. There's no getting out. So again, on the smaller parts, we give them a wet coat, being careful again not to flood. So you can see very little clear went down on those, and on the side parts as well of the boot spoiler. We've just run out of 2K, so we're going to load a little bit more up. Like I say, with the cheapness of this stuff, it doesn't really matter if you waste any. In my opinion, it doesn't anyway. When you bear in mind, we're using, what are we using, this 10mm for one car of the clear, and you get a litre. So that's 10, that's 100 cars, easily, for £20. So it's pretty cheap. It is pretty cheap way of doing it. There we go, we're onto the wheels. So exactly the same way we did before. Spray around all the edge of the rims, then angle it. Obviously we're spraying a wetter coat this time. Again, be careful because it is easy to flood them. And once they're done, pop them all back in the drawer. They're safekeeping. Until next time. Again, we're going to tip away what's in the colour cup because it's going to be re-thinned again in a minute. And give it a good flush through again with thinners. Okay, we're back for the third coat. Sadly, my camera has moved ever so slightly and I didn't notice. So some of this is a little bit out of shot. I do apologise, but it's basically the same kind of coat as last time. So what we've done now, I think we had about 8 millilitres left. So we need 10% of thinners. So I put in another 0.8mm of thinners this time. And give it a good mix around again. We're not reusing the pipettes. They're only single use for whatever goes in. They are cheap as chips to buy off Amazon. And they're easy enough to throw away and replace. Bit of a shame the camera moved, but hey, it's just one of those things. This is a one-shot deal. As you can see from the previous coat, that's levelled lovely. We've got a nice gloss coat. So we're going to come back now and give it another wet coat. It's exactly the same as before. We're just going over it systematically all around the body. But this time we're on the hunt for orange peel. So basically orange peel is not a completely smooth surface. And on 2K it usually means you've not put quite enough paint down to give it its self-leveling properties. So that's what we're on the hunt for this time. We're going around the sides, around the front, over the bonnet again. And we're putting quite a heavy coat down, as you can see. And over the roof. Now, one thing I have found that when doing the roof, the boot and the bonnet, because you're overspraying parts you've just done, recheck them because that little bit of mist spray can be detrimental to your gloss finish. And you may just need to put a little bit more down on the front wings or the doors or the sides. So once you're done over the roof and the bonnet and everything, just recheck the sides. I wasn't quite happy with the roof, so I put a little bit more down. Like I say, using the light in your room is excellent. Angle it so you can see the actual sheen on the car, like I'm doing now. Sorry we're off camera, there's not much I can do about this unfortunately. And yeah, where we've gone over the side, the front and the roof and what have you, we're now just going to put a little bit more on the sides to make up for that. Now I am spraying this quick because the quicker I get this back in that drawer, the less chance we've got of dust on the body, and that's where I want to stop. So you can see on that roof and the bonnet we're getting a real nice shine. And again, I'm just adding a little bit more. Like I say, it is surprising just how much of this stuff you can get down. But be careful with it. The more you use it, the better you'll get. And like I say, this is probably the 40th or 50th vehicle I've sprayed in this stuff in 2K. So I'm getting pretty used to spraying it. So now we're going to give a visual inspection all over. Now, as long as you haven't got any orange peel, it's fine. The finish will get better the longer it self-levels. And it will look absolutely phenomenal if you've got everything covered right. Whatever you do, do not drop this at this time because that is going to be absolutely detrimental. If you get fluff or anything in it, it's going to look absolutely awful. So that's back in the drawer now, safe. I've got some clear in there. We're going to give the roof scoop another coat and the boot spoiler and then finally the wheels, and that is us done. It's as simple as that. So, you know, for the cost of it, the 2K is very economical. Like I say, you're going to get about 100 vehicles out of 1 litre. So, it's good value for money. And like I say, as long as you take these precautions, keep your hands covered, your arm, a decent respirator, a good spray booth, you should be just fine. And like I say, as you'll see in a minute, anything that's had any contact with 2K is literally put away and thrown away if needed. So there we go. Just having a quick visual look at this again. As you can see, it's really started to level nicely now. Looking absolutely beautiful. Really shows that mica blue off really well. That is a very nice clear coat. Absolutely lovely. So that's going to take, I think they reckon, about 24 hours to fully cure. It's dust dry in 30 minutes, touch dry in, I think it's 12 hours, but fully cured in 24. I leave mine for at least 2 days before handling and polishing, because we're going to polish this with some Novus polish at the end. I leave it 2 days before even touching it, and we'll crack on with other parts of the model in the meantime. So we've got some cellulose thinner there, or lacquer thinner, depending on where you are in the world. We're cleaning the airbrush, we backflowed it. Now, I would normally spray this into my airbrush cleaning station, but because we want all remnants of this gone, I pour it into the cup that the 2K was in. So, clean the colour cup out, give it a spray, give it a back flush. We'll then give the airbrush body a wipe over, just to get rid of as much of this 2K off the airbrush and out of it as we can. And then I'm going to pop this in some cellulose thinners to soak for the half an hour. I'll leave the room 40 minutes. And then once I come back in, we give it a good clean with cleaning brushes to ensure it's absolutely spotless. So, unscrewing all the components, in we go. Take the needle out, push it forwards, not backwards. Give that a separate wipe over on some tissue with some lacquer thinner, cellulose thinner. Get any remnants off. There we go. We're then very importantly going to get the rubber O-ring off the front. Do not put that anywhere near lacquer thinner, cellulose thinner, because it will expand. And then we're just going to dip it in, pour away. Dip it in, pour away. Now the way I do this, the cellulose goes nowhere near the air valve. It's just enough to cover the colour cup and the channels inside. And I always let that sit there for half an hour to soak. As you can see, cellulose thinner, lacquer thinner. I put a bit of tissue and we cleaned it in to soak that up. That's pushed away. We then grab any pipettes we used, or tissue, or any cups, or anything we don't want to keep. And then we roll up the kitchen paper like so. All the way. As you see, I mask tape down my paper. Fold up into a neat little roll. Moving the camera so you can see. We should have done that before, would have been better. Over the spray booth filter. We roll it all up inside. Like so. And then fold this into a neat little package. And then you're ready for the magic. We use our glove very carefully because they do tear. Cover one side. Then we cover the other. And there we go. Ta-da! Okay, so there we go. 2K down. Now, there's a lot of safety aspects, as I've spoke about. Don't let it touch your skin. Try not to breathe it in. Definitely don't breathe it in. Anything that's contaminated with it, kitchen towel, tools, the airbrush, make sure they're clean. If it's something you can throw away, a cup, tissues, the filter in the spray booth, as you saw, all gets bundled up and thrown out. And then leave the room for a good 45 minutes, an hour with the window and door open. Let everything escape and job done. Very, very careful over it. It's just one of those things. Like I say, it's not going to be for everyone. So if you want to use a different clear coat, by all means go for it. But like I say before, just be very careful. Put thin coats on to give a protected layer for your decals, and then get your wet coat on at the end. But you do still stand a chance of losing your decals. It's just one of them. So there we go. So this is it. This is it all done. It's not fully cured yet, so I've got to be very careful. But as you can see, we got a pretty nice shine there. You can see the reflection around my room and the lights. And yeah, that's come out pretty well. Happy with that. So that's going to cure now for a couple of days, and then we'll crack on with the running gear, the interior, and really start to speed along with this build. So there we go. So like I say, please take note of those safety aspects. It's pretty horrific stuff, but take the precautions. I've been using it for a while and I'm feeling no effects. Over the long term, well, you never know, but for now everything seems fine. But if you are wary of it, please stay clear of it and use a different clear coat, but just take your time. you really do. But nothing will get that finish out the gun, nothing at all. So there we go, that's part 4. We'll be back with part 5, which we'll be covering. We'll get the chassis painted, the roll cage together. They're all body colour, so they're going to need clean up and spraying. I won't spray them on camera because we're covered spraying, that kind of thing. We're going to get the running gear, suspension all sanded, ready for primer. And then we're going to get the interior prepped and ready as well. So there we go. I'll catch you all next time. Take care. Bye bye.